had a lot of negative plays. How much is that hurt? What are the steps to try to do that?
Well, I think you got to take a really good analytical look at where your breakdowns are. And myself, it was a great time to have the open date in particular. Really take a good look at your quality control and where maybe some of those issues are coming from. So I think from a coordinator and play caller perspective, I can do things better to help. And really, I think we've seen a little bit of improvement in some of those areas in terms of adapting to our players and trying to put the players in position to do things that they can do well. And a little bit different approach in some areas of the field, a little bit different approach in schematically, but certainly something that we're aware of and we've taken a good look at. And I think we've gradually got a little bit better at it as we went, but it certainly was an issue in particular earlier in the year. So definitely something that from every angle, every position unit, every coach, is there something we can do to practice differently? Is there something that we can do to emphasize certain things differently in meetings? And then take a good look at our conceptually, what we can do better. So, but it's certainly something that's been a deficiency for us, and we're fully aware of that, and it's something that we're attacking each and every day to try to get better at.
I think the running backs haven't had anything more than a 20-yard run. Is there something with chunk plays that you've just been unlucky or maybe been close to breaking a couple of them that you have, or what do you see?
Well, it's typically a group effort. Most plays that are explosives, are typically great efforts on somebody's behalf. I think when you talk about rushing the ball effectively and creating explosive runs, it's usually a group effort, starting with the quarterback. Is he doing what he needs to do? Maybe it's his play fake after he gives the ball. Maybe it's a backside receiver on a backside cutoff block that makes the key block. I think it's something that it's always a group effort in that regard when you create a big play. I like to, coaching receivers the last couple of years, I would show, the guy's big play touchdown catch. You go back and you show the running back in protection. He picked up the pressure, the quarterback was able to hold the ball, you make a big play. And then emphasize how do you play without the ball as a receiver. The guy breaks a long run, same guy that picked up the pressure when you caught your touchdown, you're in position to make the key block for him. So I think a little bit of it is everybody's understanding of their role in the run game, and being there and making the key block. A little bit more effort, a little bit more strain. And then as a staff, we've got to take a good look at what we're doing maybe to create more explosives. So it's a group effort, and I think our staff and our players are working hard each day to try to create some of those big plays that you're talking about.
So probably the best defense are going to play the whole season long. What makes you so effective?
Well, first of all, in general, I think got a tremendous amount of respect for their staff and Coach Peterson and the things that he's been able to do now at his second stop. So I think they've got a great understanding of what they're trying to accomplish, what they're taking away. I think they're aware of, okay, hey, we're going to take away this. This is maybe where we're weak. And they work well together. They're sound in tackling. I think they do a great job tackling, in particular in the secondary. Their front is extremely talented, and it requires a certain amount of effort by your front. That uncovers an athletic group of linebackers. So across the board, they've got sound players. They're well coached, and they do a good job tackling in space, and they prevent the big play. They really do a good job protecting the middle of the field. So tremendous amount of respect for their staff and their defense, and certainly be a great challenge for our players.
Talk about their front being so talented. Do you feel this bye week has helped settle down the offensive line in terms of their starting five?
Yeah, absolutely. Really good 3 practices last week. Kind of go back to the basics. Really good fundamental work, and let some guys compete. Evaluate who practiced well and where we're headed going forward. So we practiced really, really good today. Really pleased with what I saw out there today. So yesterday wasn't one of our better days, so it was good to see our leadership respond, really challenge those guys this morning. and I thought they did a great job today. So looking forward to, next couple of days really detailing things up and getting ready for a great challenge.
Seems like not long ago, if it got to be 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, almost everybody would want a quarterback sneak.
Right.
I don't see that as much anymore. Why is that?
Well, I think, one of the trends that you see nowadays is teams will go tempo and hand the ball off. That's a pretty common trend. I'm even watching NFL games and they're headed that direction. But I think you get inside of a yard, I think it's pretty common for people to do that. But probably the number one reason that you're not seeing that more is because people just don't play underneath the center as much as they used to. So these shotgun teams, 90% of the game they're in the shotgun. They may not feel comfortable in a critical situation walking up and executing not only an under center snap, but one where typically the defense is going to be right on top of you. So it's a scenario that's not practiced much. And I think that's probably the reason that you don't see that as much in college football.
You guys practice that much this year? Or?
Yeah, we do. We have it in. And we've got a series of other plays that we do that are similar to that. But yeah, I think we're comfortable snapping the ball underneath, even though we don't play a lot underneath in the game typically. We take time in the spring and fall camp to teach that, make sure that we're ready to do that. Eventually, you're going to have to get underneath there and snap the ball in certain situations.
Maybe this question piggybacks on that a little bit, but the Spartan package has really expanded as the season unfolded. I know you have a relationship marriage for my situation, but do you feel like it's mature where it's at now, or do you think there's even more room for that to further develop and how you use it?
Yeah, I think it's the simplest way to get the guy a ball, direct snapped it right to the guy, and when you got players like we have that are, Napier Harry's a very instinctive player. He's a guy who understands football. We've got other players that I think as we go forward may do some of that. So we're fortunate to have some guys that have played quarterback. We're fortunate to have some guys that can throw the ball. Some of our better skill are good with it after they catch it, So it's a simple way to remove a guy from the box, and present a new concept to the defense. And simple for us, but difficult for them. That's typically what we're looking for.
You prepared for Washington last year, right, for the playoffs?
Yeah, semifinals.
Is that a big advantage for you this year? Because of having...
Well, it's certainly, I wouldn't say it's an advantage, but there's some familiarity, But I give them credit. You can see where they've evaluated their season last year, and they've added a few wrinkles here or there to kind of fix some of the issues that maybe they had as the season went along. But they're certainly got an identity in terms of how they play, and most good football teams are that way. And they certainly understand what they're doing, why they do it, and how they need to do certain things. So it's a well-coached operation for sure.
You mentioned a couple of times what Danny's gone through in his life, and how do you see that manifesting itself in the way he plays and the way just his demeanor?
Well, I think he's a guy who has been through adversity. A challenge or a difficult turn of events is just another day for him to some degree. So he develops some resiliency along the way somewhere. He's got some grit to him. Competition comes naturally to him. I think he's a guy who he can mix and match with all different types of people. He's very intelligent. He's a guy who has a good understanding of what's going on out there, not only what we're doing but what they're doing. And it's a little bit of who he is. He's not a quitter. He's a survivor. He's found a way to make it. And I tell our guys all the time, hey, you're here now. There's no more excuses. Sure, tell me about your difficult past and what you've been through, but you made it here. Your life's in front of you. You got every opportunity to make the most of it. And he certainly capitalized on that and put himself in position to do well for himself.
Talk about Washington adding wrinkles from last year to this year, but how about in-season wrinkle? What's your approach? As you get deeper into the season, are you more inclined to have more wrinkles just because your opponent has that much going on?
Well, I think You know, open date's obviously a time where you can do that. But each week, you know, you kind of evaluating who played well the last week, who needs to touch the ball more, who's proven themselves, you know, who can create a play, who can do something a little bit extra with the ball and not just get what's there. So that's what we're doing. I mean, we're just trying to get the ball to the best players and be creative in how we do it, present problems to the defense, and be efficient in what we're doing. So, you know, good football comes down to turnover margin, explosive plays, scoring touchdowns in the red area, being good on third down. And those are areas where we're conscious of what we're trying to do. And, you know, seeking improvement every day. You know, that's what it's about. And hopefully if we can continue to get a little bit better each week as we go, fix some of the deficiencies we had in the past, we can put a good product out there and go win.